This project is a collaboration amongst the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, UCCS, Nourish Colorado, formerly known as Live Well Colorado, and the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. Through a series of 3 films, Farm to Early Care and K-12, hospitals and universities, we would like to take you on a journey around Colorado as we share success stories from institutions, farmers, and food systems change agents. This film should be viewed as a tool for you to share with your food service team, the institution's leadership, and community partners to demonstrate what is possible when institutions transition to making local food procurement the norm. We invite institutions and local partners to participate in re-establishing strong Colorado-based food value chains, recognizing that the food on our plate is the reflection of where we live. Colorado. This film is available at our UCCS website and YouTube channel playlist and can be packaged with various fact sheets, recipes, and resources to help food service teams make the transition to local food procurement in Colorado. We appreciate you taking the time and effort to integrate this film into your in-service and training. We hope we have inspired you to join us as we reshape the landscapes of institutional food.
But the tie that I've always found in communities is the children, and so I've always felt that if we were able to do anything within a community nutritionally, that it has to start with the kids.
We talk about, is it going to be corporate farms or family farms? Is our food system going to be global or is it going to be local?
People want a relationship with their food. They want to be reconnected with agriculture.
So this is critical.
Would you say that from scratch cooking can be a stepping stone to local food integration? Should we think about it this way, that a school first does more from scratch cooking and then looks at procurement from local?
It's shopping wisely, it's building partnerships, it's connecting people.
I'm a firm believer that the success in this area comes from that early work where we were able to bring farmers and all of the local school food service directors in the same room, and I really believe that those early conferences contributed to the success of our program.
We really think it's really valuable to help school districts in getting local foods in their programs.
What always came to my heart was the children. I've always said food is the problem, but it's also the solution.
It's a big state, but with a 400-mile radius, we're able to capture a lot of the agricultural production, including meat.
Yeah, exactly. Would you say, 50% of your local purchases are within a 100-mile radius? Can we say that?
They are mostly within the state of Colorado.
I think to really understand the impact that we can have with increased institutional demand of local food, we need to see where the farmers are and how are they doing now, and what impact can we have on their farms and ranches if we do buy from them at prices, though, that allow them a living income.
Traditional food supply chains that have developed through what we call the broadliners, typical distributors like Cisco, US Foods, they have really perfected their systems over the last 40 or 50 years, and they work like well-oiled machines. And from the farmer's perspective, they're often seen as driving farmers down in price because they're very powerful buyers. And but at the same time, they take some guesswork out of farming because they can buy large quantities of products. And so these types of distributors are particularly useful for larger farms. Not very useful for small and mid-scale farms that can't compete as well on price.
I'm the general manager and chief fungi of the Taproot Cooperative. We are a consortia of a couple food hubs, Arkansas Valley Organic Growers, Valley Roots Food Hub in the San Luis Valley, and Arkansas is out of Boone, Colorado. Excelsior is the plant.
And then on the other side, which is more responsive to the small and mid-scale family farms, are food hubs. And so essentially we have two parallel food systems running side by side.
And so the question to me is whether you want industrial agriculture to feed your country, your community, or whether you want family farm agriculture. People who are stewards and husbandmen and caretakers of our natural capital and our natural resources.
We're feeding families, and that's really what keeps us going here. It's, you know, the conventional system, a lot of farmers make more money, but our primary goal is to produce the most nutritious food we can while caring for the land and returning this land to the next generation in a better condition, in a sustainable condition. Improved soil, you know, improved water cycles, healthy herds. Those are the things of value.
And so it's that critical farmer in the middle, the family farmer, that we're seeing the disappearance of.
Institutions is something that a lot of us have been looking at very closely with the hopes that this could be the market segment that really tips the scales and makes local food more viable for small-scale family farms. Because with a institution, there's this idea and this hope that you could take some of the guesswork out of farming and work with the institutions to plan, possibly forward contract a certain amount of products, and grow larger quantities of things.
And it's really important work. This is about reconnecting people with the historic connection they've had with the soil, the seed, the farmer, the story of where their food comes from, that connection that builds a fabric of community. Students learning in a farm-to-school setting where their food comes from, getting to know their farmer, having that relationship, appreciating food and valuing it, food as medicine, food as more than just a fuel to get through the day, but it actually has a story that's very important to the community, to the culture.
For my master's project, I'm doing a research project on farm to institution, specifically reimagining school lunch hour Japanese style. Up until third grade, I lived in Japan, and I experienced the Japanese school lunch hour where we serve food for ourselves, eat meals with all the students and the teacher, and we receive some food and nutrition education from the teacher. And so that's how I grew up eating up until third grade, and that's what I thought it was going on elsewhere. And I moved to the States, and that was the most shocking thing I still remember to this day, is the difference between the Japanese school lunch hour versus the American school lunch hour. In America, lunch was the last priority.
I run a program called Gallup at Manitou Springs Middle School, which is a growth-based alternative learning and leadership opportunity. And so we have classes, we have after-school courses, we have some summer camps, and the main purpose of what we do is to help students and children come to a beautiful piece of land, connect with that land, serve that piece of land, and through their contribution, experience their own value and their own connection with food and with nature. What I hope the children experience is themselves as part of an ecosystem. Well, it began before me. There were two really wonderful collaborators, Doug Edmondson, who owns this land and whose family has owned this land now for over 100 years, partnered with Jeremy Tackett, and they got together to create a farm, Flying Pig Farm, to conserve the land, honor its agricultural heritage, and continue its connection to the community. And as somebody who didn't know a lot about farming but knew a little bit about teaching, I figured out that the best thing I could offer for the land was to start bringing children here.
It seems like you have made some big strides here.
In food?
In food, yeah.
Yes, and we can change things as we see fit, like the gardening. We taught the kids to eat vegetables, and they're eating it. First they grew them, and they ate them.
Yeah, so we know this from research, right? That when kids plant their own seed and they watch when something grows, they have this empowerment, right? They did it, and so they're going to eat it.
And we would take it right out of the garden while they're playing on the playground, and who wants some spinach? And they ate it. Yeah. They learned to like it.
What started in 1995 with Alice Waters' creation of the first edible schoolyard in Berkeley, California, has grown into a movement. According to the program's own website, involving students directly was key. Today, Alice Waters' idea is known as edible education, and we're seeing programs like it becoming more commonplace and spreading across the nation.
At Manitou Middle School, I'm in this class called Gallop, and basically we come to the Flying Pig Farm every other day and we do all kinds of stuff. Today I'm going to be transplanting plants, so the baby plants that are still kind of growing, we're going to take them from the classroom and bring them here. We do a lot of hands-on stuff, so we do stuff with the animals. Today we were harvesting some mint and some kale. But yeah, it's just a great experience and it's awesome being in this class. And it really isn't like any class I've taken.
What I like about the farm is the walk, because it just shows how nature can be very peaceful. On our walk down, we have a hill and we get to see deers and rabbits and a lot of things like that. And before I had this class, I'm pretty sure before any of us had this class, we didn't know what agriculture was, how to harvest anything. We've just learned so much from this class. I think you should add this program into everywhere. It's really great.
I think it's a great thing to teach kids about where food comes from, and it's great for me because it helps me to try to incorporate some new things into what I'm doing.
I incorporate Waldorf methods into our curriculum, which is basically whole child learning with a focus. Our school has a focus on wellness and sustainability. Students come out every other week throughout the school year and take this class just like they would a gym class or an art class in a traditional public school.
We do have a farm-to-table program, so we have a full-time agricultural arts teacher and I am the full-time cooking arts teacher. It is part of a wellness program, and that's why we do cooking arts and ag arts here. Because food is so much about how we feel and health and well-being.
Farm to school became an issue, I can't even remember how many years back, but it was something that I felt very close to because the schools that I worked at, the middle school and the high school were built right on top of farm ground.
Farm to school, yeah.
Yep.
Big district,
Yep.
Seems like what I just heard. This is District 6?
Correct.
Yeah, 22,000 kids.
About 22,000 enrolled students, and we serve during the regular school year about 15,000 meals a day.
I am here in District 6 Nutrition Services Department as the food hub manager. So my primary focus is local procurement and developing farm to school programs.
When I started here in 2009, there was already passion about farm to school programs and purchasing locally and supporting local agriculture. And it's so funny, we look back now and we laugh because we started our farm to school adventure with a small crop of cherry tomatoes, and we spent a whopping $235. That was our annual local foods purchase. And since then, now almost 8 years ago, we've continued, year by year to expand, much closer to the $1 million mark.
So St. Vrain Valley School District is the 7th largest school district in the state of Colorado. 33,000 students are enrolled. We encompass 13 towns. We serve about 25,000 meals a day throughout the district. So we're pretty busy during the school year.
For the whole school district, we have 54 schools, 31,000 students, spread over 550 square miles. I have 200 employees, and we're doing 14,000 meals a day from scratch. So I've been here 9 years. When I came, it was typically bad processed food like in many, many other school districts, and we've gone from that to about 95% scratch cooked, 25% is all regional. We have 11 farmers. We have very high food standards, no high fructose corn syrup, no trans fats, no hormones, no antibiotics. We have organic milk. Most of the stuff is regional.
I am the coordinator of the food service program for Durango schools. We have about 5,000 students, 12 schools, now we have 8 elementaries, 2 middle and 2 high school programs. So we serve about 2,500 meals a day and lunches and about 800 breakfasts a day. And so we've been doing farm to school since about 2006. In the beginning, we really started out just trying to incorporate whatever we could purchase from farmers. So any small purchase, I had farmers that would deliver to me 20 pounds of carrots. And then that 20 pounds would go to one school and it would go on a salad bar. And so we have salad bars in all of our schools. So it makes it a very easy way to take what the farmers provide for us and have access for all the kids eating hot lunch. So we used to do it that way, where we would get small purchases from farmers and we would send them out to one school. And then we sort of built on that, and as the relationships with farmers developed, we were able to make larger purchases, send it to more schools, and now we're at a point where when we receive product from a farmer, it goes to all schools and all kids are eating that product.
Me, of course, I saw the value of it, and so I pushed for it. We came to the conclusion that if we could do anything healthy with our kids, then it would have to be sustainable and would have to be local. We need to show that we are concerned about health, and if we can do that by showing here's fresh, came straight out of the field or off the tree or whatever, I think it's a great opportunity.
So a lot of our children come from families where healthy eating is not at the forefront of what they're doing at home. So they come here and they get to harvest carrots and radishes, and they've even tried to harvest potatoes and eat those raw out of the ground. So they get to come here and find out not only how food is grown, but what it actually looks like. How does it taste? How does it taste different from what they get at the grocery store, which they definitely notice that. That gets pointed out quite a bit. And they also learn how to use the food in our cooking arts program. And even more importantly, I think this program gives them a connection to place and to the land that maybe they wouldn't get in a traditional school. They see this garden as theirs. They help take care of every aspect of it. And it really teaches them just stewardship for the earth and the importance of having a relationship with the planet.
For me, it's important that, we're promoting healthy living soils, that we're promoting organic practices, and that food comes from my community, and I'm investing my own hard-earned money back into my own community and benefiting our whole system.
Barriers you may encounter. While deliveries and logistics are known barriers for institutions, these vary widely between organizations. Challenges we are seeing consistently impacting local procurement within institutions are as follows: procurement policies, budget limitations, seasonality and supply, skill acquisition and food service training, menu and recipe standardization. Let's look at these challenges closer.
Well, first of all, I think in the United States, unfortunately, we've lost our culture around food. People don't cook much at home, and it's understandable. I mean, people are busy and so forth, but also people don't know anymore how to cook. And when children then get to do it at school, they get to learn new things. And also their parents come here and help. So they also learn new things. They also see the positive things that come out of eating and cooking together, and that it even can be relaxing. So both the parents and the children, I feel like, learn a lot and get really excited about it and look at it as a really positive, fun thing to do.
I think there's these myths that we tell ourselves about seasonality, that, we're in Colorado and we can't have produce year round. We have a great produce package through the winter. That is not a problem. And all we have to do is sort of plug in and not treat it as something so different. Treat it as putting food on the table and feeding people, and that's what we're needing to do, and that's what Colorado's done for centuries.
The market share in many places, especially rural areas, were limited on the income you could gather from a farmer's market or a community-supported agriculture program, and so these food hubs came to occupy an interesting new niche for family farms, and it was basically an opportunity to scale up by bringing your agricultural goods to a central warehouse, and then a professional staff and drivers could take this out to multiple distant marketplaces.
So some challenges that we're facing is underutilization of our package, and I'm 5 years in with the Valley Roots Food Hub, and we need to get that critical mass. It's all about volume, and that's what puts the diesel in the truck and keeps the whole system functioning. So accessing these markets is important for our sustainability to keep everything rolling.
I definitely do think that it'll be a lot more difficult once it gets to a larger scale, and not on the part of procuring the food, but just as far as the processing the food, because most of the time when you're procuring fresh foods and vegetables, there's a lot of processing that goes into it.
In 2010, we started a food renaissance, if you will. We renovated our central production kitchen and really focused on returning to scratch cooking. So while returning to scratch cooking is separate from local foods and purchasing locally, it also lended itself very well to have that opportunity to, rather than purchase red sauce from a distributor, we can now bring in, we love our red sauce. It's a superfood. It's, not only tomatoes, but it's got zucchini and onions and carrots and everything pureed into it. So it's a great story about local foods and being able to have the capacity to cook from scratch.
One of the greatest benefits I've seen is that the kids are a lot more interested in trying new vegetables and trying them prepared in different ways. And even though in the beginning they might be a little bit intimidated by things like purple potatoes, once they realize that they taste just like regular potatoes, they're more likely to try, say purple cauliflower next time down the road.
I'm on the wellness committee at my school, so we're actually looking into different things, garden and just all kinds, do recipes for kids online for their parents, and just there's a lot of different stuff that everybody wants to do.
As a dietitian, I know that nutrition has so many different effects to our mental health as well as physical health, as well as your grades.
I think Kara hit on the culture shift, that the willingness and ability to test new things, try new processes, try new dishes, and introduce these kids to new types of foods.
Felt that was very advantageous to the school districts if you could get the staff to buy into it, and not only staff, administration I think was key, and I felt that was one of the bigger obstacles was getting administration to understand the value and actually help to implement it.
Institute experiential education, complete with living learning labs and therapeutic gardening activities with full academic integration into existing curricula.
I think it's really, working on the development of relationships. So it strengthens the relationship between the students and the staff. If they're starting to make those connections and teaching the students about where their food is coming from and the quality of it, that strengthens those relationships. It also builds relationships between the school and the larger community with their farmers, with other local food producers. So I think that those relationships are really valuable and important.
Working with all the farmers is kind of where you get to. You don't start there. You start going from chicken nuggets to roast chicken. Yes. And then eventually you get to the farmers. Yes.
It boils down to relationships between the farmers and the buyers. There's all kinds of unexplored opportunities that can happen between buyers and producers when they're in regular conversation.
We partnered actually with Greeley Weld 6 School District and our food cooperative, which encompassed 13 other school districts, and to work with local farmers. And that actually took us up to 2012 to be able to start to build some partnerships. It was pretty scary for the farmers. It was really scary for us.
Implement regular team training focused on food literacy and skill building that prioritizes handling fresh local products to maximize the food's potential in education and elevate the jobs you offer.
They come and rent our kitchen for about $40 an hour, twice a week, for about 12 hours a week or so. So it's a nice way to generate some revenue. We're working on a fund, creating a fund to pay off unpaid school lunch balances, and this would generate some of those funds. But speaking as a school district, this is another way to diversify our revenue streams and support local businesses. But to be able to move past the Cottage Food Act, and do retail sales and wholesale sales, this space is available. But with a little bit more infrastructure, we'd be able to allow weekends and night access and holiday access when we're not here. There's also the opportunity to tap into our school kitchens. We've got more than 35 school kitchens that after 2 o'clock are shut down and vacant. So if there's somebody looking just to do a small production or packaging, that kind of kitchen would be a really good option.
The Chef Ann Foundation was founded in 2009 by Chef Ann Cooper, also known as the Renegade Lunch Lady, and our main focus is to help school districts move to scratch-cooked, self-operated programs. So we do that by providing resources, tools, and funding to school districts to help them in that process. 2 of our programs that really, hit home the local procurement aspect is School Food Institute. So these are online courses that are taught by Chef Ann Cooper. There's a course that's specific on procurement, so it goes into the process for writing an RFP, incorporating local foods into your program. All kinds of really great information and resources are available in those courses. Then we have the Lunchbox, so that is our website that has tons of great free resources available to school districts. One of the great things about the website are the recipes. So we have over 300 USDA compliant recipes. This includes nutrition analysis, cost analysis. The recipes are scalable. They've been tested by real students and by real staff in school kitchens. The other thing that the Lunchbox offers is a lot of great resources around specifically procurement, so velocity report examples, information about buying locally. We also have marketing and education tools, so once you have those, that local food in place, how to market and educate that to your students and school community.
And we have about 65 plus producers. It ebbs and flows a little bit. All around the state, representing different agricultural regions, from the Southwest, beans and cornmeal, Western Slope, the fruits, Eastern Plains, the Pueblo chilies, the melons, and the San Luis Valley breadbasket of potatoes, quinoa, carrots, mushrooms. We've got a host of good stuff. So, we bring all these producers together with this very diverse, complementary portfolio. And we're able to serve institutions in a way that I think is unique, being that, we have the diversity, we have the quality, and then we've got the story and sort of legacy behind these producers. We stand behind producers that are growing food in living soils. That's a big deal for us. It doesn't have to be certified organic, but we want to see farmers that are actually working with soil and building soil. And with that, I think we're able to bring a transparency and a distinguishment in the market, different than maybe some other broadline vendors. And with the emphasis on acquiring local, I think it's much more streamlined to have all these local producers on one invoice, on one ordering platform, on one truck. So we bring value to institutional buyers in that way. And we want to be able to bring a vibrancy to the food, and that comes with the story and again the legacy of the soil. And as I think a famous president said, society that has no soil has no society, to paraphrase.
So I'll talk about Mountain Valley School in Saguache, where I've raised my kids and we've gone to school, and we have a long-time school community garden that we've used as an educational laboratory, a place where students can actually see what a Brussels sprout growing on a stalk and picking off those huge leaves off the cabbage plant, wearing them like hats, but having this relationship with their food. And then after they've harvested and chopped or whatever and brought that into the salad bar, they have a pride where they talk about, I helped grow this food and I'm time, and encouraging people to eat it and eating it themselves. And so just that whole circle of food in the ground, food on the plate, food in the kitchen, really a great educational tool for our kids to get related to food and have a more food literate experience at school.
My responsibilities as a school wellness coordinator is to work with the schools on implementing more healthy eating and active living initiatives in our school. A lot of work around our district school wellness policy, forming wellness teams within the schools, and then building partnerships with community members to further our work outside of the school walls as well.
Plan on taking the time it takes to create a menu and go through all the ingredients and be able to apply it in multiple, like 50 servings or 100 servings, depending on whether or not the big kids are here. And then you have to have some way to order it. It can't be haphazard. So from making our menu, we went to a spreadsheet and just figured it out. First the menu, then the food, and your parents. They have to be on board.
Yeah. So this school district actually started in 2009 to make changes in their meal programs. And one of the first things we did was to really start to look at the menu and the items, where we were getting our food items from.
So bringing all these small farms together, we make it viable for them to access these markets. I have one producer growing turmeric and ginger and shiitake mushrooms. I mean, who would have known that we're growing turmeric and ginger at 8,000 feet in Colorado? It's really nice crops to have.
Also, when I started, I had a lot of people in our department were just unskilled workers, and they didn't need any skills. They needed to be able to open boxes and count and put things on trays and heat them up and serve them. And I'm really proud of my staff now, because in 2017 we have everybody on staff is a skilled worker. They all can work with fresh produce and local foods and things that are different, and they can put together salad bars and from scratch meals.
If you look at our meal today, there's pears, salad, everything on it is healthy.
We did that when we transitioned from processed meats to raw meat. So we were probably one of the first districts in the state that went to raw ground beef. Everybody was using a processed pre-cooked meat. And so that took a lot of training, and a lot of the staff was scared to cook raw meats. And so we started with, commodity meats or, lesser quality raw ground beef that we were able to afford to purchase. And then that was a huge training with staff about how you cook safely raw ground beef products. And then from there, we started to bring in local meats. And, then they were introduced to grass-finished ground beef, which is a completely different product than what they were used to. But once they were comfortable doing one thing, you could throw anything at them, and they were already okay with it. And so we did a lot of that kind of stepping up to where we are today.
So in the process of serving children every day, you just get the mentality of that you need to always work at your best.
If you are considering it, I would say just give it a go. I mean, I know it's hard to work something new into your budgets, but it works out so well, and it's such a benefit for you and your local economy that it's an opportunity you shouldn't pass up.
Yeah, don't be afraid to try something different, because the kids will get you motivated to get things done. So it's fun, and it makes it fun for the kids, so don't be afraid.
Well, one of our moms, she actually was interviewed for the NPR CPR interview, and she said, my kids don't ask for bad food anymore. They want good food.
For me, I think food is a right, and it's a basic human right, just like clothing, just like air, water, shelter. And I think that schools really have the responsibility to provide healthy, nourishing food to students. But in addition to that, teaching them about where it comes from, how it's grown, and how it applies to their life in a meaningful way.
But if you support the family farm, you get an entire different outcome, entirely different result. These are the protectors of our environment, the protectors of our land. These are the people who build soils rather than deplete soils.
Just try it.
And if you're not working for something greater than you are, then why are you working?